Weeping lasted all night. I know that joy comes in the morning light. So I'll march on to a new song, 'cause I've been marching to that old one way too long. And I gotta move on and take new steps every day, 'cause I know there has got to be another way and a brighter day. So I march on. Hello, and welcome to Pure Live. It is Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you are exactly where you're supposed to be. And yes, I do have a special guest, but I have another special guest that you don't see yet. This is my son. But I will talk more about that in a moment. You know that if you have watched this show before, what we do first is we deal with our sponsors. So here we go. Yes. I love that organization. You guys hear me say it every single week. They are a great organization to get involved with if you are looking for a team to help support you, guide you, give you some tips, some plans, whatever you need to get your things going. They are really good with supporting you in that way, and encouragement. They are part of the reason why I have this show today. They are a blessing. So, our next sponsor is Motives Cosmetics, which I'm wearing today. Yes, indeed. And we also have Abella Eyewear. You can get those shades or them blue blockers, which I'm actually wearing. I was wearing some today. Here are a pair of my blue blockers. This helps keep that blue light out when you're looking at screens and stuff all the time. They strain your eyes. These are very useful. And you can get them on my website along with Motives Cosmetics. If you click on Abella Eyewear after going to asiajamal.com or asiajamal.net, you'll get 30% off of anything that you purchase. And Abella is always doing new deals. They have had the buy one, get one free. Just, keep going to the site. And with all those deals, you still get that 30% off if you go through me. You're welcome. And now we are going to dig into our discussion for today. Now, the name of the show is Walking in the Boots of a Soldier. This is Christian Walker.
Hi.
And today, our other guest is Wendell Powers, which I see him on the phone. I'm about to bring you in, so get out the phone. Hello, sir.
Oh
Uh-oh, now
dear.
we don't hear you.
He's on mute again.
Did you mute yourself again, sir? We don't hear you. I don't know what he did. So we'll wait for him to get his sound back. In the meantime, just so you guys know why I have both Christian and Mr. Wendell Powers on the show. First of all, know that they are related. This is his grandfather.
Hi, other grandfather.
And they are both connected to the Army. Christian, uh, let me, clarify this because I'm not that old, y'all. He is 17, but he has gone through boot camp. I guess Wendell will join back in a minute. Um, he has gone through boot camp. He is officially military, and he's back. All right.
Okay.
All
Hello.
right, we hear you.
I'm so sorry.
No problem. So it's good to see you. I want you guys to introduce yourselves now, please. Go ahead with Mr. Wendell Powers, you first.
Yes, my name's Wendell R. Powers. Uh, I'm 64 years old, born in Chicago, Illinois, and Carver High School, Columbia College, and United States Army, I guess you could say. There was a lot of other schools too, but we ain't got that kind of time.
All right.
And I'm happy to be here with my daughter and my grandson.
Glad to have you here. And Christian, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Christian Walker. I'm in high school, senior, and uh, I'm in the Army National Guard. Am I missing anything?
You're also in a dual credit program.
Oh, I guess that matters. I'm in a dual credit program, and I'm working on getting an academic honors and technical honors diploma for high school, and I believe that's it, right?
We can start there.
We can start there. Okay.
He got a lot going on, y'all. All right. So, what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be addressing how things were with the Army in Windows Day versus today. So, first, I want to start with this video that I found that kind of breaks down what's going on with the military right now, recruiting wise. Just so you know, it's not a deep breakdown. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Cole, and today I'm going to go over if it is still a good time or if it's still worth it to join the Army, whether that be the National Guard, the Reserves, or the active duty component. We'll get into that here in a little bit. Now, according to many sources, it's more difficult now this year for the Army to get recruits in than it has ever been before. So historically, one of the biggest benefits of joining the military was you could have your tuition paid for. One reason some people are saying is part of the problem would be because Amazon and Starbucks and other private companies have now started not only upping their minimum wage, but also providing tuition assistance, which used to be a benefit that was kind of more held towards military stuff. This has now gone more public, and it's kind of a widespread thing now. So along with this, you also have the average American making more money than ever before. An article that just came out recently has the average American making $27.33 an hour, which is equivalent to about $56,800 a year, which is higher than ever before. In fact, that's up almost $2 an hour, or a little over $4,000 a year from this time last year. So according to the Army, in 2014, only 29% of Americans were even eligible to join, and that was without a waiver. Now it's gotten even worse. It's gone down to 23%, and the Army blames obesity, drug usage, criminal problems, other physical problems, and a lack of education, the high school diploma being the biggest reasons that people are ineligible to join. So because the DoD hasn't officially released their numbers yet, we don't know exactly how far behind the recruiters are, but what we do know is it's affecting all the branches of the military, and the Army specifically is doing quite a bit to try to make sure they can bring in some new talent. So one thing the Army recently did was they dropped the high school diploma requirement to join. So what would happen is if somebody didn't have a high school diploma, they could go in, take the ASVAB, and if they got a certain number in the ASVAB, they would still be able to join. Now, this only lasted 1 week. They got so much backlash on it, they decided to reverse that policy. So now you do need the diploma again to join. But it kind of shows how far they're willing to go to get new talent in the door. So another big thing the Army did was ease up on their tattoo policy. They're now allowing face tattoos.
Face tattoos.
No, I'm just kidding. Now you can have hand tattoos up to a certain length, neck tattoos, and also tattoos behind the ears. So that's quite a big change from what it used to be. To top off all of this, the military is at some of the lowest numbers it's been at for the last few decades. So what does this mean for you? The first thing is going to be signing bonuses. These have always been a thing in the military, but right now there's a ton of jobs you can go and select that are going to give or provide up to $50,000 as a signing bonus, which is a pretty big deal. But I want to spend a whole lot of time on signing bonuses because everybody already knows about that. Next, the White House has proposed the largest Army pay raise in the last 2 decades or so, which it comes out to about 4.6%, which is not a ton, but it is, like I said, bigger than a normal Army raise, and it's trying to keep up with some of these private companies that are paying more and more. Also, everybody knows the increase in housing that happened over the last few years. The Army is also proposing an increase to the BAH, which is the untaxed housing allowance that they give their active duty soldiers. So with all this being said, I can't tell you that you should or should not join. That's going to be specific to your situation. However, what I can say is the Army is doing more now than they have ever before to get people in the door, and it could be a good time for you to take advantage of some of these new benefits that we haven't really seen before. If you guys have any questions about joining, feel
Talk to you afterwards.
All right. Okay. He on the phone. Shame on you. Okay, so why did I show it? So first of all, I want you guys to understand this is not going to be one big old Army commercial. That is not what this show is about. I want to talk about, from the soldier perspective, along with, what is being promoted by, the Army, and see, what are your thoughts? I want to hear from my audience. I want you to ask questions, get in the conversation. I invite you. So let's first talk about the why. So, Wendell, why, honestly, did you decide to join?
Well, daughter, Reaganomics. Now, for those of you,
Yeah, break that down.
okay, in 1980, when President Reagan was elected, the economy was doing well. I had excellent jobs at that time. I was only a few years out of high school, graduated in '77, and I was in college. But at the same time, I was working. First job I was working for was Jules, and I became a stock guy, and then ended up being a butcher. And then I went and had a job as a darkroom technician. Also was a garage manager for the building that I lived in Hyde Park. And I was making very good money. I mean, the job was paying like 16 an hour plus overtime. And then I had the other job. Now, after 1980, things started changing. Now, people say, well, nothing changed, but in certain ways, the economy started changing. Unions started getting broken up. Jobs were not paying, the minimum wage was on track at that time with the cost of living. After 1980, 81, and you really started seeing that the minimum wage stayed at one place, and I never worked for minimum wage except one time I worked as an amusement ride operator, but that was when I was still in high school. But as an adult, I never made work for minimum wage. But all of a sudden, you started noticing hourly jobs were paying much, much less. And they started figuring out ways they changed things. They started figuring out ways to create what they call middle management, and then you had a guy under that, and it was like everybody else was starting to make less and less, and the cost of living was still going up. My apartment in Hyde Park in 1977 was $200 a month, and people told me I was crazy for paying that. I
What?
had a studio. I had a studio. My folks lived in the building. You know, I mean, my mom had a two-bedroom, two bath, which I also stayed there sometimes too because I kept a bunch of my junk at her place. Which she, when I went into the army, she got rid of it all too. But I had my own little place, and the rent, the average rent was about 150. You could get a one bedroom, 150, 175 a month. My car note was 99 a month, and my insurance was 30. But cost of living was what you made and what you and your wages were about the same. And it didn't. You could work for a CTA, you could work at one of the many factories, or you could work downtown doing 9 to 5s, and everybody made a pretty good amount of money, at least to pay their bills. You know. Now, same thing happening then still happens. Women get paid less. Black women get paid even less. Black men get paid less, and it's still going on. And it could be anywhere from 10 to 30% less, depending on what jobs you're talking about. Now, the
Mhm.
thing about it is the cost of living kept going up, but minimum wage just like it just hit the brakes. It just wasn't going no higher because if minimum wage would have stayed on track, right now you should be making, even if you worked at McDonald's at minimum wage, $23 an hour. Now they'll say that's ridiculous. Of course, Congress and Senate, they're in Congress, they're still arguing for the last 5 years, 10 years to pay people $15 an hour. Now a lot of people still ain't got $15 an hour, and
Right.
$15 an hour ain't it's not worth what it was 10 years ago. The
Right.
minimum wage should be at $23 and some change per
Okay.
hour. Okay. Uh, if you have a skilled job, it should be more like 28, 29. Now, I heard the gentleman say, the soldiers say, that minimum wage across the country is $27 an hour, but it depends on where you are, who you are, and what. Because I really need to direct some of these $27 hour jobs, since he said the average is that, to my community.
Right.
I'm still an activist, and I don't get around like I used to, but I'm still an activist, and it's like it's real important. So I went into the army. I joined and I dropped out of college. Bad idea, but I didn't know what I was doing at Columbia. I was having a good time, but I didn't know what I was doing, and I went into the army in 1984 because the jobs I had that from 1980 at 1980 I was let go and of Donnelly's because they downsized. Darkroom technicians weren't needed, and I was the last. Bam, it was a lot of us let go.
Mm.
The other jobs weren't paying that much, and you started noticing now. When I worked phone rooms, I worked for companies. I made a good living doing phone work. At that time, and then all of a sudden you got a commission for your work, and they paid, and they had benefits, and you got time off, and you
Mhm.
got all the things you're supposed to get. Then
Right.
all of a sudden somebody came up with, oh, we don't need to pay commission. Let's have a bonus. Let's see. The first 20 guy people that make this will get extra $100. And it's like some out of reach number. You never get the bonus. They make money on everything you sell or every call you answer. I did sales for World Book Encyclopedia, but I was mostly into customer service. But the World Book Encyclopedia, I was good. That was before call waiting, call ID, and all of that stuff. So people answered their phone, and there was no cell phone. And you can say, "Hey, hello, hi, this is Wendell Powers. How you doing, sir? I'm calling from
Mm.
World Book Encyclopedia. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm fine. Yes, listen, I'm just going to take a little bit of time. Since you are already a member and you have the set of World Book Encyclopedias, we would like to enhance, give you a better option and give you some of the things to go along with that, like an atlas and dictionary.
Mm,
And it would be very good for your kids and blah blah blah. We say whatever.
mm,
Anyway, and you could close those sales. And you could make crazy money. It was ridiculous. But then they figured, we're paying everybody too much, and they just started cutting. Not at World Book. I'm talking about just jobs in general, and we're talking about everything from maintenance. They had what they did subcontracted. So therefore, you could be where you used to make a decent living and could pay your bills even as a maintenance guy, but now you're subcontracted. So that company that sends you to this place takes a chunk. So you don't get that. It's just like a caregiver. A
mm,
caregiver is supposed to get 22, 23 an hour, but most agencies place caregivers and caregivers will get a little bit less. Same thing, postal workers. They used to make a good wage. For my generation, they made a good wage. But new contracts that started in the 80s, they don't make as much. Same with CTA. These people that work for CTA now, or Jules. When I
mm,
was at Jules, I was making $12 an hour. That was 1977.
mm,
Okay,
mm-hmm.
so it's like,
Right. They're not making that now.
and that's why I joined the army, and it gave me a place to be. My friend called me up. He joined right out of high school and said, "Hey, why don't you come on over, man? Germany, it's
Hmm.
peacetime now. Vietnam's over." And I went in, and it was a good experience. I didn't
Well,
wasn't
hold
my
on.
idea.
Before you get into that, I want to
Mhm.
stay a little longer on the why. So, real quick, I'm going to play, and maybe you recognize these commercials. I'm going to play a commercial because we're going to deal with how they draw you in.
Okay,
This was a commercial for 79. So I know
okay,
you joined after that, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But I heard these are the commercials that made me think about joining.
right. So here we go.
Okay.
This is the Army, where just 2 years can really pay off. You get 2 years more confidence and 2 years more skill. You get to travel and grow. And with Uncle Sam's help, you can get up to $7,400 for college, all in just 2 years. Your Army recruiter can tell you how to qualify. This is the Army, a chance to serve your country as you serve yourself. Call this number toll-free.
Okay, that was one, but that one didn't move me off my. That didn't move me. And in 1979, things were good. I had a car, I had a place. I
Mhm.
was kind of a college student.
Kind of.
And well, hey,
A
look,
little bit.
I didn't have a clue. Okay, I went to Columbia College, and I didn't know what I wanted to major in, and what I wanted to major in, people didn't want me to do that, and I didn't
Mm.
have enough nerve to do it myself. I wanted to be an actor. Okay,
Oh,
Oh, okay.
okay.
and everybody, all my family, my grandfather told me, stop telling people, your friends and your family, what you want to do because they're not going to appreciate it. Just do it. But I didn't. I never. I didn't take the leap. I was accepted at UCLA for the summer program, the theater, but I didn't go, and that's a whole different another story.
Mhm.
When I look back on it, it's because I didn't have enough confidence in myself to do the things I needed to do for me. I felt like I needed approval. I'm looking, this is hindsight and
Mhm.
wisdom, So, because remember, whatever choices you make, it's on you. But you can't,
Mhm.
but however you come up, whatever you come up with, it's on you. Now, my life was not it, there's a lot of things, but I still made the choice to do whatever. It's just who you listen to and who you don't listen to, and also talking about now. My grandson, he's way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
I wish I would have thought of joining after my junior year. That would have made much
In my
sense.
junior.
Now
Mhm.
he gets a check every 2 weeks,
A
every
month,
twice a month, right?
once
Well,
a month,
once a month, once a
Once a
month.
because
month.
he's National Guard.
Yeah,
Yeah, different
yeah.
Once I
program.
go on active
You
orders.
you
Yeah.
get it every other week. You get it twice a month when you're in. But I mean,
Right.
when
Right.
you get it mail, because I was in the reserves too after I got the army. because I did my 3 years Army and my 3 years reserve, and then I went active reserve. So
Mhm.
yeah, you get that check in the mail. But still, you got a check in the mail to do whatever they have things for, and you got a leap an idea of different things, and makes you look at things a lot more different once you get outside your thing. Now, the thing that saved me long before the army, I always had adventures. I would
Hmm.
deliver cars in other cities and move around.
Yeah.
But but anyway,
Okay, so we're going to take a break here. And then we're going to bring Christian into the conversation. So, real quick, those of you that are watching via YouTube, this is what I want you to do, boo. Thank you. Subscribe. And we're going to take a quick break, and then we will be back with Find the Fake and with Christian Walker. Here we go.
Christian.
I'm Asia Jamal Rogers, and I'm a singer, songwriter, choreographer, voice actor, and I'm the creator and talk show host of P.U.R.E Live. P.U.R.E is an acronym for Perfectly Undefined Raw Elegance. So naturally, we want our content to be pure, raw, and elegant. It airs live every Friday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube and Facebook. And if you'd like to see all of the episodes, you can reach it at asiajamal.com, ASIAJAMAL.com. Or if you'd like to be on the show, you can reach me at asia@asiajamal.com. Hope to see you soon. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and I will play this again because that's what I do for you, because I care about you.
Okay.
We're going to play Find the Fake. The object of the game is to look at the statements that go across the screen and guess which one is the fake. And if you get it correctly, you can win a prize. So pay close attention. Here we go. I'm sorry, that is not the correct one. Give me a moment.
Yeah.
Like, nah, that's not me, boo. That's not me. Okay. Now we're gonna try this again. Ready? I'm like, no, I think that
found
was
the
from the
fake.
previous.
I found it.
I found the fake. That's funny. And you guys, please continue to pay attention. And also, when we come back, we're going to play a more recent. What are you doing? We're going to play a more recent commercial and get into his why. So here we go.
What?
Find the fake. All right. Now, we're not going to tell you yet, but just pay attention and pay attention to the conversation. Now, what we're going to do is play a recent commercial for the U.S. Army. Here we go. dude. The comeuppance. That's all I'm saying.
Now that
You can't stop using paratroopers.
they still use the same concept though. It's like a, but it's still, but now it's for his. They got the visual, the video game, because that's what I felt like. I felt like I could fly that helicopter just by watching the video. I mean, I was rolling with it. Much
But
more, but it's saying it's doing the same thing. It's just
it's similar, but what I appreciate about that one, it showed a lot more versatility. It was less one
yeah, you
dimensional.
didn't jump out of a tank or laying in the grass. It had more
Right,
positions, more opportunities. And that's
right.
another thing. When I went in, I noticed that too. Recruiters, depending on where you joined up at, when I went in, they gave me a folder, like a notebook folder that
Hmm.
Hmm.
you buy, and it was like it said "Welcome to the Army," and it was green, and it had black stencil, a helicopter, a tank, and a guy running with a weapon. That's it, and my orders was inside that. But once I got the basic, kids from other neighborhoods, they had catalogs with
Hmm.
glossy pages of pretty pictures of different posts and places to choose from, and
Oh,
all of the jobs. Because a lot of kids, and I especially notice, uh, and it's not inner city, it's just kids. Some people just aren't don't take in the knowledge, and if you don't ask, they won't tell you. But
right.
there's hundreds of jobs in
Yeah.
any branch of the service, and it's up to you to just don't go for that. Now I was a transportation, okay,
Okay.
all-wheel vehicle driver, but I
Okay.
learned logistics and everything else. I basically had an office when I was in Germany, and I was combat support. My job was make sure the guys up there got what they needed. And I took that
Okay.
job seriously. And if I had to do it again, a lot of people would one might want to talk about this or say something, but
If
I
you
would
can
have been a
put that
cook.
on vibrate.
I would have been a cook. If I would have joined, if I known what I know now, I would have joined the army and I would have been a cook. Why? Because
Yes, you
I would
wanted
have
to
Is
been
that
able
your
to,
dehydrate my
phone?
eggs.
Is that your
huh?
phone?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Uh,
Give me
if
watery eggs.
no, no, no,
But
no.
hold up, but hold on. Before we get further into
Yes.
you,
Okay, go
let's
ahead.
get into
Yes,
Christian.
right.
So, so
Grandson,
let's deal with your why. So,
good looking
totally
boy. Look
different
at him.
situation altogether. So again, this is Christian Walker.
Aye.
Now,
Good looking kid.
he is 17 years old. He went to boot camp last summer, and now he is in his senior year of high school. He's in a dual credit program. He is already on a great track. He has teachers that love him. He's in honor classes. The teachers are like, hey, let me know where you want to go. I'll send you, letters and everything, letter of recommendations. He has all this stuff going for him. So this is not a necessity situation. This is not like, hey, the economy is crashing. Hey, my family doesn't make much money. Nothing
Okay.
like that. So let's talk to Christian about his why.
Uh, so normally when people
Come
ask
on,
me,
talk show.
um,
This man.
normally when people ask me what my why is, and they're like, "Why'd you join?" I'll tell them because I think it's funny. I'll be like, "Cause I was bored," and like, but truthfully, it wasn't necessarily because I was bored. It was he was at the table one day, and I was like, I feel like I should go over there, and I heard
So
him.
be more specific. Who was at what table and where?
So there was recruiters in my high school during
Thank you.
lunch, and there's a little table stand. Normally, I just go over there to flex because like I'm already athletic. I just go over there and be like, oh yeah, I can do push-ups. And but this time I went over there and I was like, I'm actually hear him out. So I went over there and I heard what he was saying. I was like, I feel like I should join. I think that's what I want to do. And I feel like God kind of led me in the direction of joining, so that's where I went. That's kind of my motivation through the whole process. That's why I joined.
So how was God telling you to join?
Um, Through the people I would talk to about it,
You just kind of got confirmations here and there.
I got confirmations, and then I got the where God would kind of like he kind of like introduced me to the kind of people I was going to encounter through the people that I would like meet and like question and everything.
Mhm.
He kind of let me know like, okay, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. You're gonna come across this, stay on your toes. Um, and that's kind of how I got my confirmation that that's where I should go.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's my job.
So let me ask you, after going through boot camp, did that make you, did that keep you as motivated, or did that make you second guess yourself, or were you more excited?
So I never second guessed myself because at the even now I'd say like second guessing myself was like kind of second guessing God. And was like, are you sure? Like I feel like I shouldn't do that. So I never second guessed myself. Um, I kind of kept the same reasoning. I stayed motivated, and when everything's got tough, or I mean, like a little tough, like you get uncomfortable, or you having a little bit of an off day. What I did was I would like pray to God, and I'd be like, Lord, give me strength, but give me patience more than anything. 'Cause I ain't got none of it. But I just kind of I just kind of prayed to God, and He kept me through it.
So let me ask you this. Contrary to your grandfather here, you didn't have any like world experience yet. You didn't have other job. You didn't,
McDonald's counts, right?
no. Um,
Okay.
you didn't have that very long anyway. Um, and you spent your summer at boot camp
hmm
where other teenagers may be having fun and doing what teenagers do. Um, did you like envy other teenagers, and experiencing things that you're not experiencing? Or like how did you view that situation?
Um, there's this running joke in boot camp
Okay, I'll call
uh,
you later.
where how did you have a whole phone call?
I know, right? Now go ahead, continue.
um, so there was this running joke in basic training. We would like see a civilian because there were civilians on base. And we would see a civilian and they'd be like doing things that we can't do. And that was the thing that we kind of envied, but didn't at the same time. We kind of made fun of them for it. We'd be like civilians. So like
Oh.
if we saw you in your civilian clothes and you had like earbuds in, you going on about your day, like ready to tackle the world with
Hmm.
your laptop or whatever, we'd be like, "Ugh, civilians. We'd be like, we gotta get up and work out. Ain't no phone, no nothing. Um, so, but like generally, I didn't envy anybody. It was more of a joke than anything. Like we would just like look at them. Um, I didn't like. I especially didn't envy my peers back at home, back here, because I already knew what they were doing. It was nothing productive for the most part. So it's like I'm doing something. So that's how I
Interesting,
thought
different
about it.
perspective. So, Mr. Powers,
Yes,
you were in for one term, correct?
yes, I did 3 years active, and I did 3 years active reserve. Now, active reserves is different than regular reserves. In other
hmm
words, I was getting paid full time while I was in the reserves, uh,
Okay.
but I didn't have to wear a uniform in the jobs that I did. I was a proctor,
No.
you know, over tests when new people, like if my grandson would come and take the ASVEST to take the test, so different things like that. Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
And you're talking about doing the full 20 years,
he
correct?
wants to be a lifer. He wants to
Right.
be a lifer.
So, so why did you decide, Wendell, to not stay in?
Well, probably because I waited until I went in like I said at 24. Okay, now that's old, but there were guys. The funny thing that happened with me,
30.
because of Reaganomics, we had guys that were 34
hmm
coming back in because these were Vietnam veterans because there were no jobs.
Mm,
I mean, a lot of people don't understand that, but everybody said Reagan. No, there were no jobs for the regular person unless you had a degree, and there were jobs, but they weren't as accessible as people want to think. and they
Okay.
weren't that coming into a certain area. And like Christian said, a lot of my friends would stay in the neighborhood. See, I figured, long as that train goes somewhere, I'm not going to just be stuck in this neighborhood. I mean, I can jump on the L, I can get out and move around, but it was more important that I did something and that just sit around on the front porch, or just the regular just hanging out. My grandfather always said, he said, you ain't got to be great, but you can't just be doing nothing. You got to do something every day,
Mhm.
and like that. So that was how I was. But at the same time, I thought about being doing 20, but with that, it was like I was seeing guys that were getting up to their 18 years, and all of a sudden something happened,
Mm.
things happen. And I was also, the biggest problem with me was that I just thought I had a better life. I had other things I could do once I get out. I knew I did my time. I enjoyed being in the army,
Mhm.
and I missed it when I got out too for a while. But there were other things out here for me to do. If I had to do it again with the wisdom that I have now,
Mhm.
not only would I have stayed in, but I would have dealt with it in a different way.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Because it was all about information and knowing. At the same time, the military is good for getting it, but it's not necessarily something where I think young men should look at other options, because even when you in the military, you do 3 years. We always say take it one enlistment at a time. So you do 3 years. Don't get gun ho and say I'll just do 5 years. Do your 2 and 3 year enrollments. They give you time to think. There's other stuff out here, because a lot of guys, even the guys that go in, there's a lot of life out here. And you might not. Now, if that's what you want to do, fine. But because at your young age, there's a whole lot more out here.
Mhm.
I'm glad you're going to college. You
Yes.
know, that's important, because people say, well, no, you can make it without college. Some do, some don't. But unless you got a real plan, and like I said, I come from a generation, and I'm just gonna say it like this. I was There's a lot of kids out there like this in today. There was a lot of kids like this when I was coming up. Girls, boys, black, white, Hispanic, it don't matter. We're bastards. Now, I know that's a harsh word, but people
Mm.
have to look at things like what it means. There's no information. There's nobody telling us nothing. There's no support at home. Now, me, myself, I had my grandfather and I had my mom. I love my family, but the information wasn't flowing in the way it could have flown. My grandfather was my
Mhm.
grounding. I just listened to him, and basically looking back on it, if I would have just focused on what he was telling me and even took it to more heart, it would have been a good thing. I made a testament next to your mom at church when you was a little boy, Christian, that I just wanted to, because he was real. It wasn't no making stuff up or no vanity, or that he was just being honest about the things he did and whatever. And that's all I want for my grandkids. And I just want everybody, I think it's a good idea to make a career out of it, because you can do it, take you a lot of places. But at the same time, you should also look at the different jobs. Don't get sold on that one thing, because I see recruiters do things like, yeah, you don't want to be a truck driver, you want to be a combat engineer, and yeah, that's cool. And then you got
Cool.
a bunch of kids running around. Everybody, you'd be surprised how many people go through airborne training and start crying. Okay, you gotta
For
know.
real.
You gotta know exactly what you want, and not to prove to anybody or anything. Because I passed the airborne test, but when I
Mhm.
thought about it, I was already in Germany. I took it because I didn't think about it when I joined. But when I
Mhm.
was in Germany, I was with engineer battalion, but they
Okay.
had me in headquarters. I always ended up in headquarters. So
Mhm.
basically, I'd be in the big
Shit.
tents. Huh? What's that?
You were Mr. Chairman.
Nah, bro.
Sitting chair.
See, that's that kind of nonsense they talk to you while you're in basic. Wait until you go to AIT and get active duty. You won't be because see those little comments like that will get you in a lot. You'll bring a lot of problems upon yourself. Those are
So,
things.
We're respectful about it. We're joking.
but hold on. So I want to change gears a little bit, and we are
Yeah,
running low on time, which makes me think
yeah,
we're going to have to do a part two, because I really want to address another aspect of it. So, was it last year? I think it was last year that I actually this stuff is running together. I've been doing it for a couple years now, but I dealt with the PTSD of the people that have joined the military.
yeah.
So what I'm curious about, and I want to hear from both of you, which is why I think I'm going to have a part two. But first, I want to deal with you, Christian. Um, one of the things that you were told before you even went to boot camp is everybody cries. That everybody cries in boot
Everybody
camp,
cries.
right? And some people just, they don't cut it. They can't make it through. What did you witness as far as those breakdowns and things in boot camp?
So not everybody cries.
No,
At least now. At least
no.
nowadays. Um,
They,
but
everybody.
what I would see or witness was like there are people who definitely didn't know what they were getting into. And so they would go, there's this thing called sick call where you go and you like get checked out or whatever. So they were the ones that were like constantly in the sick call, like on their way to sick call. They were trying to get medically discharged so they can get out of it. So they didn't know what they wanted. And they would sit there and complain about it. It was, oh, drill sergeant this and oh this sucks and I hate having to do this. So there's a lot of people there was like a lot of people who like ended up dropping out and complaining. There was also people who I don't know how, but like they managed to get past MEPS on a waiver or like they didn't say something and they ended up hurting themselves pretty badly through pre-existing injuries and stuff like that. And they ended up discharging as well. Um, those of us that were able to actually physically endure what was going on and we knew that we were going to keep going, like the quickest way to get out of basic was to go through basic. And all of us that understood that, you could tell we understood that. But there were some people who definitely struggled. Like it's tough, being in the same room with the same people for 2.5 months, and you have to figure out how to cooperate with them. You guys are all learning, and then you got people who learn faster than others, people who learn slower than others, people who learn differently, people who talk differently. It's literally everyone from all around the world coming together, and you butt heads a lot. It's kind of where the term sock parties comes from, because like you fight and you get mad at each other or whatever. But by the end of it, we we all we had all like professionally settled our differences. There's a specific day where we were allowed to hash out our beef. So it's called combatives, and we got out the pugil sticks. We put on the little armor or whatever helmets. We took them off. We did not give we didn't care. Like we straight up took them off. But yeah, we were allowed to like settle our beef, and after that, everybody was fine. And
Did you have people that broke down mentally that weren't able to move forward?
there was no one that mentally broke down. There was a lot of people that went through stuff mentally, and it was more emotionally than anything. We had quite a few people who, guys mainly, they got Dear Johns, which means that their girlfriends while they're in basic, and they get the call or they get a letter, and then you like see them crying. But because we were all together, we would like be like, hey,
You're rallying around each other.
They were like, hey, your girlfriend left you, but we won't leave you without a buddy. We got you.
So let me ask you then, Wendell, did you witness people, because you were in it in a different time, so I know that there were other types of battles and fights that you guys were dealing with due to your race and things like that. did you witness any mental or emotional breakdowns during your time in?
There were a couple of people that I don't know. They didn't even give it a chance, and they wanted to go home. Then we had some that dropped out, and some that just could not physically keep up. Now, that was the easiest part with me. In fact, I like running in the group. It makes the run easier. Two
Uh,
miles running with people, or it's easier. And I like to be, I was a guide on there, with the flag, or I would pull up
No.
the rear and call out cadence. So I didn't see, but there were a lot of there were a lot of people that they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that. There were people that couldn't even make up their bed or take
Mm,
care of themselves, you know, like so there, but there were people that, but what they would do is like Christian said, the easiest best way through basics is just to do it, because the guys that would want to go home, they would keep them there and have them policing and picking up and painting and doing work, and they would let them go home right before we graduate. In other
yep,
words,
what happened?
in other words, they've been working their butts off. They've been loading trucks, working in the kitchen, doing all of the grunt jobs, and then right, like they let them go home. Like either they let them go home right after, or right after we graduate, or right before we graduate. But so it didn't make sense, and a lot of the reasons. So there was a guy that wanted to go home because he missed his girlfriend. And as far as those
mm,
Jody letters go, like you had guys that tattooed the person's name on their arm and found out that she broke up with him. Now, when I didn't have no problem. It was fun to me. To me, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but at the same time, yeah, there was a lot of people. But remember, I didn't train with women. They didn't even allow that. I wish we could. I did AIT with women, but advanced training, but as far as basic, no. But there were other basic units that did. I don't know why they didn't put me with no women. You
mm.
know, but I mean, I wouldn't
Like where the
mind
ladies
training with the ladies.
And they
I'm
were
a
there, but
guy.
we did not want to touch them.
go? Mm,
Well, yeah, when you see what everybody goes through, they didn't want to touch you either.
No,
After
no, no. We didn't want to touch them because of the rules. Okay,
oh
so you didn't
oh
want to go
oh
anywhere near them because there's this thing called shark, and we
oh
didn't want them to
oh
be like, oh my gosh, he's sexually
yeah,
assaulting
that's right.
me.
That's right. See, those are things that I didn't have to deal with. But if you get caught with a trainee of females when I was in AIT
Mm-hmm.
and a woman in the wrong places. Like I'm in a girl
Jay.
that was taking AIT and she came there. Me and her, we were off, but we had our uniform on. We were holding hands. And
Oh,
a drill sergeant came out. We weren't on base. We just had on a uniform, but we were trainees because we ain't, we just was on a little 24-hour pass.
mm,
And this other drill, are you guys crazy? Have you lost your damn mind?
mm,
Two soldiers holding hands. I said, Sergeant, this is a lady, which he shouldn't have had no problem because she was a very attractive woman. He said, you think I'm blind, idiot? I know it's a woman, but you're a trainee. Wait. See, that's all. But no,
mm,
so it depends on what you hear. It's my grandson, he'll do fine whether he chooses to do it full time, part time, whatever. Uh,
mm.
but like there's choices there, and all you got to do is open your eyes and and pay attention to detail. I know you know that one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but that abides in life. Everything you do. I wish you'd had, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good thing, and it's how you deal with it. You would have been a good soldier, ain't you?
Thank you. I was almost there.
Yeah,
I was
you.
sworn
Yeah,
in.
I mean, if you
Um,
want to do it, but there's other things. But yeah,
right.
yeah.
Um, so okay, so we are like towards the end. I did promise that I would do the find the fake one more time. So we're gonna run that and then we're gonna wrap this up. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a part two. So here we go. Let's run that find the fake one more again.
One more game.
Okay. So, do you know which one is the fake?
I would say it's I write my own music.
Wow.
You were incorrect, sir.
What?
Well,
So,
no, I'm just saying because
What?
people will say, to impress somebody, yeah, I write music.
no,
Then
that
the,
ain't
the
it.
other one was I ran cross country track because people will say that those look like things people would just say if they really
Which
did it.
one was the fake, sir?
I ran cross country and track. Okay.
Now, so the trick of that is part of that is true,
I ran cross country.
but he never ran track.
Okay. All right. Well, the reason I thought it's because that's just a sport that a lot of guys, if you in halfway shape, you can say, yeah, I ran cross country.
Oh,
I've never heard of that
me
before.
neither.
Most people they'll say you did cross country. Why'd you do that to yourself?
Right. But okay, so if Wendell will come back, then
any
we'll do the final
any
on
time to be with my
great next week.
favorite family.
Okay.
Oh,
So
damn. Oh, it's like that. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I love you guys truly, so that's cool.
we love you too. So okay, so until next week. Now y'all know we got part 2 coming with Christian and Wendell. And what I want you guys to do is give some words of wisdom. So I'm gonna start with you because you're not as long-winded. Go ahead.
Words of wisdom.
Yes. What do you want to say to the people that are watching?
Well, since it's about the Army right now, I'm going to first mention it in regards to the Army. If you're looking to join or you want to join, make sure that it's something you want to do 100%. Don't even go in 95%, because that 5% while you're in there is going to really be knocking. So don't go in there unless you know 100% that it's what you want to do, and make sure you understand what it is that you actually want to do. Like, do your research, and there's a lot of benefits in the Army, but that's only if you go through the right channels and you talk to the right people. So make sure you do your research, make sure it's what you want to do 100%. And then I'm going to relate it to real life. Follow your passion, but make sure that's your passion, and try as hard as you would, like, in basic training in real life. So put 100% effort into it. Like I said, don't even do it 95%, because when you're going through it and something gets rough, that 5% is seriously going to be knocking at the door. So don't do anything unless you're 100% sure that that's where you want to go in your life.
All right. And what you got for us, Wendell?
Pay attention as to the young people because my generation we're all retired looking for a beach somewhere, but for my grandson's generation and to my friends that are still out there trying going for whatever they're going for, just nobody's got your back other than yourself, God and yourself. Okay, everybody loves you, but God and yourself. So have faith in God, have faith in yourself, and love the people that love you. You'll be fine.
All right. Amen. Until next time, be right here Friday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember to embrace God's perfect design, which is you. And have a good evening. Good night.
Bye, grandson. Bye, daughter. Love y'all.
Love you too.
Bye.
Weeping